The M230 cannon fires over 30 rounds in succession. With this burst, it's estimated to cost $100 million in wages. Today, we're bringing you a gunfight action movie that will ignite your hormones. Without further ado, let's get started. The Delta Force received a mission to rescue 2 overseas heirs. In the snowy mountains of Afghanistan, visibility is extremely low. The Black Hawk must fly at low altitude. The Special Forces follow standard procedures to rappel down. Just as the Prince is the first to slide down the rope, they realize the drone has flown to the wrong mountain. This is not a safe landing zone. Headquarters receives the message and immediately orders the drone to fly down. But by then, it's too late. The armed forces on the ground are irreplaceable. The Black Hawk's 30mm cannon eliminates the ground threat. However, the Prince hanging on the rope also falls onto the snowy mountain. Fortunately, the cushioning of the branches and the thick snow ensure the Prince is unharmed. The helicopter is damaged, and they must return to the base to change vehicles. At a distance of 30 meters and half a kilometer from the target, various forces are forced to move forward. According to headquarters instructions, the 7 of them proceed towards the target. Everything happens so suddenly that they didn't have time to grab their snow boots, which were left on the helicopter. Their premature exposure made the bandits more alert. They prepared to move the hostages to a new location, ignoring the lone Prince. Seeing their movements, he immediately reports to the squad leader. The decision is made to rescue the hostages first, then the Prince. They set up an ambush on the bandits' path. The renowned Delta Force plays the commando game. Meanwhile, one teammate is isolated on the mountaintop, with no one caring about his fate. However, the special combat skills developed with at least $200,000 a year are dozens of times stronger than ordinary forces, even capable of taking on 100 enemies alone. 2 shots take down a bandit. Not a single bullet is wasted. The bandits and hostages appear in the squad's sight. Seizing the opportunity, they fire simultaneously. Within 10 seconds, they take down all the bandits and successfully rescue the hostages. Then the squad splits into 2 teams, with the leader taking a ranger to rescue the Prince. The leader spots the Prince. Meanwhile, the bandit's heavy gun keeps firing at the Prince, but with such a steep slope in between, the heavy gun is just for show. The leader orders them to split up, flank from the left and right, and quickly eliminate the enemy. Ripper, you clear? Looks good. Moving across, coming back down to you. Unexpectedly, there's a hidden sniper. The ranger is assassinated by the enemy and falls in the snow. The Prince, closest to the ranger, prepares to rescue him, but is also hit by the sniper. The command center discovers 6 or 7 armed men approaching, leaving them little time. The leader calls out to the ranger, hoping for a response. The armed men are 30 seconds away from reaching the Prince's position. A Prince who is shot and unable to walk. A ranger whose life is uncertain. Leader Bambi makes a difficult decision. This is probably the only decision Bambi will regret for life. He runs to the Prince, takes him, and retreats from the Afghan mountains. Bambi is not only the Prince's leader, but also his brother-in-law. He gave his beautiful sister to the Prince as a wife. Because of this rescue mission, the Prince had a fight with his wife, Amber, saying that her brother didn't dare to take responsibility and could have saved the ranger while rescuing him. What his wife did was show loyalty to her brother, always siding with him, no matter how serious the situation. The Prince said this, but he actually cares a lot about his wife, because his wife Amber is a scientist who often goes into the field for research. Worried, he secretly placed a military-grade tracker in her backpack. However, he didn't know that this tracker would bring deadly danger to his wife. This unknown armed force dared to take Americans hostage, executing 2 researchers by the river. In Colombia, 160 kilometers from Venezuela, there lives a primitive tribe. For thousands of years, they have coexisted with addictive drugs and can even resist addiction. Amber, a scientist dedicated to curing addicts, began long-term research on these tribes with local government permission. Just 2 weeks in, trouble found them. A local unknown armed force targeted the American research team. They ignored the official permits and began inspecting all the team's supplies. Ultimately, the tracker left in Amber's bag got them all captured. The Prince discovered the tracker at the cliff and couldn't contact Amber. In a panic, he called Bambi, hoping to find a way to get his wife back. It turns out Amber is not only a scientist, but also a contractor for the CIA. If her tracker is discovered, she is truly in danger now. Bambi contacted the CIA and learned that 2 scientists had been executed, but Amber was not in danger. The prince doesn't trust the CIA to rescue his wife. The two packed their bags and took a private plane to Bogota, Colombia. Using their special forces identity, they found the local embassy. The staff told them the kidnappers wanted $250,000 to release her. Now, the embassy is negotiating, offering $100,000. The prince is furious with the stingy ambassador. Forget $250,000, even $2 million is a small amount for him. Bambi called the consul general, who led them to the underground command post. The Colombian Special Forces commander in charge of the kidnapping case told them rescuing Amber is very difficult, with too many lookouts, local child gang members, and motorcycle gunmen. If they go in, one police officer will alert everyone. The Colombian Special Forces have set up 3 outposts, forming a triangle with snipers, but they need multiple embassy approvals to act. The prince can't wait for the CIA's negotiations or the Colombian Special Forces' approval. Amber faces life-threatening danger every day. That night, the prince gathered a batch of local weapons. Though not as advanced as Special Forces, they're more than enough to deal with these small-time thugs. The two changed into civilian clothes, used the local cable car to understand the community layout, pinpointed the location, and then took a taxi to the destination. The Colombian Special Forces discovered the two acting on their own and could only stand by and observe. The two searched around and found that Amber might have already been taken through a tunnel on the 1st floor. They didn't find her, but got into a mess. These people are no match for Special Forces, who climbed over walls to the rooftop and confronted the armed men head-on. The armed motorcyclists were sniped. One person ran out of the alley to draw attention. Bambi quickly shot and took down 2 men. These armed men were too young. An armed leader saw his fallen comrades and angrily pursued, only to be ambushed and killed by the prince. Meanwhile, Amber was moved to the jungle. To comfort the injured Amber, Bambi found a local radio station to broadcast his voice. Hearing her brother's voice, Amber suppressed her excitement. When she heard to keep warm, stay dry, and wait patiently, she became energized. This was her brother's code, indicating he was coming to rescue her. The bandits seemed to sense something and also kidnapped a famous journalist, preparing to retreat. The colonel led the Colombian Special Forces to capture the bandits. The prince followed closely. The colonel told the prince not to fire. In 10 minutes, the Colombian army would arrive. A river divided the dense vegetation into 2 parts. The bandits prepared to take a boat to the other side of the river. The sudden appearance of a helicopter scared them into abandoning the boat and fleeing. 2 teams of Special Forces descended from the sky. What a display of combat power. Without firing a shot, they scared the bandits to death. The colonel called for their surrender. To prove their strength, they shot and killed a small leader. Whether truly scared or not, they remained in a standoff until nightfall, with no one surrendering. A phone call remotely detonated a bar in the city. At the same time, they received a call that more bombs would explode throughout the city. The White House and CIA simultaneously ordered the National Army to withdraw. Seeing the departing helicopter, the bandits cheered loudly. They succeeded. These people are not invincible. The duck in their mouth can't just fly away. The retreat was for the media to see. A team stayed at the best ambush point, waiting for the kidnappers to appear. The leader driving was shot dead. Timed explosions blocked their escape route. Everyone was too scared to show themselves. Anyone who stepped out was precisely shot. Peeking out to return fire, they were shot after just 2 bullets. A few who ran fast hid in the grass, but the result was the same. The female leader, quick-witted, had her subordinates cut the canvas to check outside. Then they took out blankets from their backpacks. In groups, they used the blankets as cover, slowly retreating to the border. At this time, 2 armed pickups came to support them. Bambi told the prince to leave quickly. Seeing he could save his wife, the prince had no intention of leaving, watching the hostages on the ground being shot one by one. In a critical situation, Bambi rushed down the mountain. At this time, another team came down. The prince simultaneously checked the car, and after ensuring no enemies were around, lifted the white cloth and shot 2 people. Then he walked into the brown cloth bundle, lifted it, and finally found his wife. For a moment, the soft feeling of her waist overwhelmed him. But to his surprise, there was still a kidnapper pretending to be dead in the car. Just as he was about to save his wife, a moment of carelessness ruined everything. By the time Bambi arrived, only the dying prince was left. The National Army tracked them all the way. The place was full of Venezuelan troops. They couldn't engage on this side of the border, as it would be considered an act of war. The Colombian army could only participate to this extent. As the hostage's brother, he chose to stay and face the bandits alone. The drug cartel operated by the Venezuelan military is run by the highest levels of the Venezuelan government, heavily guarded. There are even troops outside. Rescuing a hostage is nearly impossible. Amber, locked in the black prison, is living an inhumane life, staying in a roofless house, eating food laced with drugs. She even tried to escape this hellish place, stretching ligaments, exercising. Every day she pried at the ceiling. A fellow inmate provided her with an escape route. Amber made a fatal mistake. She didn't listen to her fellow inmate and killed a guard. After much hardship, she circled back and was caught in the black prison again. It was also because of her that her fellow inmate died. The prince and Bambi thought of a clever plan to rescue Amber. The administrator of the Venezuelan prison system has a brother. They captured him, hoping to exchange hostages to rescue Amber. To save Amber, the prince didn't hesitate to ruin the special forces' image, pulling down the man's pants and electrocuting his private parts with high voltage. Unexpectedly, the administrator was heartless. Seeing his brother treated so cruelly, he still refused to release her. Seeing the arrogant and wealthy American so terrifying, he firmly said Amber would spend the rest of her life in prison. He would double or triple the troops guarding the prison, allowing the inmates to do whatever they wanted to Amber, making her life unbearable. "I'm not testing you, Eric. I'm beating you. I will torture him." Just as the prince lost his mind and wanted to kill the man in front of him, Bambi stopped him in time. Bambi found the consul general at the Colombian embassy, asking him to interfere with the communication between the black prison and the Venezuelan military, disrupting the wireless signal. For 2 hours, the consul general knew that such a small-scale raid would trigger a war between Venezuela and Colombia. Bambi insisted on a cross-border operation to destroy the cocaine and rescue his sister. She didn't care about any war, and what she was good at was fighting. Even if it meant sacrificing 1 million Venezuelan civilians, she would save her sister. Finally, the consul gave Bambi 48 minutes to resolve the matter. Bambi's friend told him Amber would be executed in a few days, just to avenge the humiliation his brother suffered. The prince used his superpower to gather a group of mercenaries with advanced special forces weapons. Each team was assigned tasks. That night, the head of the Venezuelan prison, after finishing his business, was assassinated as soon as he stepped out. Such a powerful figure was shot dead by a small-time thug, leaving his brother in shock. With the key figure in the black prison executed, the rescue mission could officially begin. 20 people in 2 groups moved towards the black prison with determination. To what extent has the technology of silent drones reached? It can distinguish between friends and foes, detect weapons. If a person has a gun, it flashes red. Otherwise, it's blue. This rescue mission must be conducted in secret, and any situation that might expose their identity must be immediately addressed. It's impossible to search the entire black prison, which spans thousands of square meters. If the search exceeds 48 minutes, the secret rescue mission will be deemed a failure. The good news is that, according to informants, the hostage is either in Building 2 or the cocaine lab. Through drone observation, there are guards in all 3 watchtowers, and a small group of guards at the gate and nearby offices. The usually quiet black zone at night is bustling today, with people eating barbecue, setting off fireworks, and beautiful women around. The mercenaries bypass the stables. Unexpectedly, in the middle of the night, Black Sun can still deliver supplies over 1,000 miles. With the help of night vision goggles, night turns into day. Team B and Team C head to Building 02, pry open the fence, and sneak in from the side. The guards in the watchtower are watching videos, and the office guards are sound asleep, completely unaware that a group of mercenaries has infiltrated Building 2. Based on the intelligence provided by the informant earlier, they search every room. Apart from a female cook who was shot dead, they find no one else. Watchers 2 and 3 head to Building 4. If they can rescue the hostages without alerting the sleeping drug lord, it will be a perfect ending. Sniper 2 in position. Sniper 3 in position. Negative. Lookout 6. The silent helicopter detects that Team C can search Building 3. The drug lord in the control office deals with the greedy hands outside. Team B simultaneously enters Building 1. The roar of fireworks covers the sound of smoke grenades exploding. 6 bullets take down 3 people. After searching the entire first floor, they still can't find Amber. The other teams haven't found her either. Could Amber have already been executed? The prince's intuition tells him that Amber must still be here. If they can't find her, they'll launch a full assault, drive up the reconnaissance vehicle, and stab as soon as the door opens on this road. Petronia numero 2 copy. Petronia numero 2 copy. Mercenaries at every point started a massacre, and civilians gathered by the pool fled in panic. Black Feather sounded the alarm, entering a state of high alert. The mercenaries' equipment was at Special Forces level, equipped with silencers. The guards had no idea where the bullets were coming from, and in 2 crisp shots, they were taken down. Several Special Forces soldiers rappelled from outside the window into the building, taking down the drug lab completely. Compared to the professionally trained Delta Force soldier Dika, these drug lords were no match, and within 3 rounds, they were all killed. Ambo was still not found. They had to apply more pressure to force the drug lords to make a mistake. The Black Prison, spanning several thousand square meters, housed over 200 ordinary families. They desperately fled outside. When these people saw the prison guards, the mercenaries would decisively open fire. The female leader spotted the American who had been tracking her and ordered her men to bring out the rocket launcher. Both sides were in a standoff. If they continued shooting, the mercenaries' positions would be exposed. Things had reached this point, and they couldn't leave empty-handed. The mercenaries kept up the pressure, taking out the guards. The American military's weapons were too advanced, and although there were many guards, they were easily taken down. The soldiers were so scared they ran around chaotically. The female leader couldn't stand it anymore, put on a bulletproof vest, and went to find the female hostage. The Special Forces spotted the female leader and instructed everyone not to kill the target. They synchronized her conversation and learned that Ambo was being held in Building 6. The concentrated firepower had an effect, but it also exposed their positions. The machine guns continuously strafed the rooftop. Although the firepower was fierce, it lacked accuracy. 100 bullets fired were not as effective as a single bullet from the Special Forces. They could pinpoint locations, but were still skilled at ambushes. With the addition of rocket fire, the mercenaries suffered heavy losses. The number of guards in Building 6 was already low, and if this continued, it would lead to betrayal. Worse yet, the prison guards brought out a tank. If they didn't evade in time, they would be crushed by the tank. To rescue the hostages, we must first take out this tank. First, throw a smoke grenade to disrupt everyone's vision, then use a drone to locate the target. Next, drive a truck to crash into the tank. When the tank can't move, throw in a grenade to eliminate this biggest obstacle. Under the cover of teammates and guided by the drone, Bambi found the female leader. Following along in the smoke, the guards were caught off guard and were also subdued. Hearing his sister's cries for help, he wanted to blow up the iron gate, but the area was full of flammable materials. Helplessly, he used a sledgehammer to break through the wall and rescued his sister. This time, there were no more accidents. Amber placed her hands on their backs, and they escaped safely. To cover their tracks, Bambi and the prince blew up the place where Amber was held captive, which was in Colombia. Because of this, Colombia launched a violent retaliation. And so the 2 countries made statements about it, and it almost escalated into a local war. The 3 of them finally managed to escape Colombia.